Oh. Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. The majority of the members in our community are living in America, perhaps as Americans. Last week, on Wednesday, we had a spontaneous prayer service for the violence that happened in Uvalde. And every morning when I listen to the news or I'll post something on social media, I find out more about more violence. We have learned it is from bhaya, there's an expression of krodha. From fear, there is anger or violence. What we've been doing for almost 100 weeks is nurturing faith. Faith is the opposite of fear. If fear causes violence, then faith causes non-harm or ahimsa. I'm sharing this with all of you for us to understand the texture of society and to understand the investment that all of us are making in society. Just like communities are made up of families, society is made up of communities. So if the texture of our community becomes that of non-harming, that is pivotal service that we are offering to society. Everyone relax their bodies, relax your bodies. Inhale deeply and close your eyes. Please pray for everyone who has been harmed just in the past month. If we think of year, decade, we'll be praying forever. Let us pray for all of those who have been harmed in the past month. Ahimsa paramo dharma. The most universal responsibility is ahimsa, or non-harming. This begins with oneself and then is to be practiced with one's family, community, society, humanity. This is divine life. The divine harms none because the divine knows that life is universal amongst all beings. We are aspiring for the same. Sri Krishna, in chapter 7, verse 15, identifies searchers, those who are searching for joy, but they don't know where joy is, so they are extroverts. It's natural for them to look outside of themselves. In verse 16, he identifies seekers. Those who are seeking joy and they know where it is. So they're inward looking. In verse 17, Sri Krishna is identifying one who's grown out of being a searcher and also grown out of being a seeker. They're not seeking joy. They are joy. A related word or sentiment would be, they are independent. The one who's trying to create joy is highly dependent. The one who is being joy is absolutely independent. And the related sentiment is they are being. With searching, there's so much exhaustion. With seeking, there's still exhaustion, but less. With being, there's no exhaustion. Last night, we had a Running from the Mind community satsang at 8 o'clock. We had a Living the Gita satsang at 9 o'clock. Then I'd attend to a paper that I have to write. By the time I was lying down in my bed and Sheila was beside me, we didn't have the energy to talk to each other. It was just like a high five and go to sleep. Exhaustion. But now visualize never, ever, ever experiencing exhaustion again. Joy. How can we grow up into this? Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he's a master planner, and this is a masterpiece. We have been exposed to countless frameworks to identify where we are and how to grow into a better Tulasi, Narendra, Dwayne, Usha, and so on. For everyone who is a seeker, which you are, this seeking of joy should be without the thirst or sense of utility. That I'm going to be joy so I can get this. I'm going to be joy so I can do this. Seeking joy is most natural. You don't even have to think about it. It simply happens. And that is why I asked all of you to be patient. To be patient to unlearn being a seeker of joy for utility. Because as long as you're seeking joy for doing, then one will never be. I shared the same in contemplation. You have to put in your maximum effort, then what do you have to do? Har Har Mahadev. Surrender. I'll share more about this tomorrow. I've already introduced this thought of being faithful. The more faithful you are, the more you will unlearn ordinary seeking. And now all of us are thinking, but how can I be more faithful? To be with those who are faithful. That way, being faithful is normalized. If you're surrounded by people who are untidy, that becomes normalized, correct? if you surround yourself with those who are faithful, like we try to do in this community, then you will be faithful. See the connection between being faithful and unlearning. Requires intense faith to unlearn. Shri Krishna continues to zoom into joy, independence, being, so that we're clear about what our purpose is, who our role model is. Verse 18. Udara sarva evete jnani tvatmeva me matam astita sahi yuktatma mamevanuttamam gatim. Udaraha means the one who is noble or the one who is large-hearted. Sarva eva ete, all who are seekers are large-hearted. A seeker is one who's grown past living for the individuality. They're now directing themselves to family, community, society. The more they direct themselves to bigness, the more large-hearted they are. What Puja Swami Tejramananda shared with us, this insight he shared many times in reference to this chapter, that divinity or Bhagwan feels that all are bhaktas, all are devotees. Those who are real bhaktas or real devotees, they also feel all others are too. And so they have no problem with people. If we reflect on the greatest source of stress, anxiety, dejection in our lives, it is because of people. Probably the people that are sleeping in your home right now. But with that one insight, that all are bhaktas. Bhagwan feels that way, devotees feel that way. One shouldn't have a problem with others, particularly how they're devoted. We talk about equity, diversity, inclusion. Here's how. There's the framework for that. Jnani tu atma eva me matam. In my opinion, Sri Krishna is sharing so humbly that this is what I feel. The jnani, out of all of those who are seekers, the one who is joy, tu atma. They are me. It's not that they have their spirit and my spirit. There's just spirit. For those reflecting on this carefully, this quarter is a Mahavakya. A Mahavakya is a statement that teaches the individual and the total are one. That is what a Mahavakya is. Like Tattvamasi. The total and the individual are the same. This is a Mahavakya. Astita sa hi yukta atma. The one who is joy, they are yukta. No more yoga. Yoga is the means. They are yukta. They're not uniting, they're united with the Creator, with consciousness. Astitaha, and that will never change. Where there's change, there's exhaustion. This will never change. So as you think of investments of your resources and time and effort, all that you invest into that is not the spirit will eventually fade. Sometimes faster, sometimes slower. This investment will not fade. To invest more and more and more into this. And what's so lovely about these self-development messages, the more effort you exude, the more grace you invoke. We tend to feel that grace comes from the top. It's a top-down approach. Factually, though, grace is a bottom-up approach. You put in no effort, you will always feel unlucky. You put in maximum effort, you will always feel you are lucky. Rarely are we the smartest person in the room. That only happens when we're by ourselves. But we can always be the hardest working person in the room, correct? And if you're working so hard, you don't even notice other people working hard, so you stop comparing. So much practicality. Mam eva anuttamam gatim. The word gatim means to go. I've shared with all of you, this actually means to know. The one who is joy knows. This knowing is consciousness. How do we know anything? It is because of consciousness. Last insight. Sri Krishna is zooming into those who are seekers, zooming in more into those who know. For all of us, we will know the type of bhakta we are based on what we desire. Your desires are indicative of what kind of seeker you are. Do you desire coming out of adversity? Do you desire prosperity? Do you desire knowing of God? Or have you become desireless? Why? Because you know God. So be careful with your desires. From inspiration to application. How many of you tried Patient Day? Good. Happy to hear that. I did too. I think I was half successful. But what I realized in trying to be patient is there's no point in not being patient. Matters are not better for me or anyone if I'm impatient, correct? So if that doesn't work, I may as well try the other route of being patient. Your application for this morning is, what bhakta are you? Sri Krishna has given a framework of 4. Which bhakta are you? I use the word be careful. Here I'm sharing be honest. Because your instinct is, I am a jnani. Shanti, shanti, shantihi. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be joy.